Welcome back to the program. Joining me now, Representative Megan Godfrey, Democrat of Springdale, former public school teacher, still active in education, and a member of the House Education Committee. Thank you for being with us, Representative Godfrey.
Absolutely. Thank you, Roby. Glad to visit with you.
All right, before we get into the details of this plan that Democrats rolled out this week, this RAISE Act that you did, it's going to require a 70% threshold in both chambers. And the governor has said he's not ready to put it on the call for a special session because he doesn't think the vote's there for it. So tell me mathematically, before we get into the details, how do you get to 75%?
Well, that's certainly our work. We have all of the Democrats on board and we're very excited about it. And we know that many of our Republican colleagues have indicated that they will support teacher raises in this special session if it's available to vote upon, if it's part of this special session, if it's included in the call. But we really have just continued to say, this is a popular plan. We're hearing from Arkansans all over the state who say we need to increase teacher pay. And so we haven't given up. We said, let's find a plan. Let's listen to some of the concerns that our Republican colleagues have had to say, hey, this is not the way we should do it, or this is not when we should do it. We've tried to speak to some of those concerns and alleviate those and continue to find support so that hopefully we can get to those votes in this special session.
So if you can prove that those votes are there, do you think the governor will commit to putting it on the special session call?
He indicated as much. He said, you know, I am unlikely to put it on the call unless legislative support is there. And so that's what we're hoping for. We have the plan, we have the money, now we just need to get the votes.
All right, talk to me about what the plan does. It gives $4,000 pay raises to, I'm presuming, every teacher. It raises the minimum teacher salary from $36,000 to $42,000. Walk me through the mechanics of the plan.
Yes, that's exactly right. You've got the details right. It's a $4,000 raise for all educators, all licensed teachers in Arkansas, as well as a raise to the minimum salary up to $42,000. And the way we'll do that is use the $1.6 billion surplus. We'll use a portion of that and still have $1 billion left over to solve additional problems. But for this particular plan, we'll use $600 million to jumpstart these pay increases for $4,000 for all educators in Arkansas, and sustain those increases until the funding that comes from our kind of gradual incremental increases that we do every biennium through the educational adequacy study. Eventually that funding will be sufficient to sustain the raises without this fund that we're creating. But in the meantime, the Teacher Pay Sustainability Fund will also use surplus funds to fill in the gap between the time we launch these raises for this school year and the time those gradual increases can sustain the program without the fund. The good news is that even with these surplus funds and even with just kind of conservative estimates based on recent history and what we have traditionally done to increase education funding over time, we'll continue to have money left over, and we'll only need to use the sustainability fund until fiscal year 2027.
Yeah, so I guess just a little bit more on the math on that. So you're basically in 5 years or less, you're saying it will be able to be funded by the matrix that funds teacher salaries already through this adequacy study that you guys do every other year. That's my interpretation of that, correct?
Yes, you've got it. And again, that's just based on estimates that we'll only increase the matrix funding or the foundation funding $225 per pupil, which is what we did last biennium on average. I'm hoping that it'll be more. I'm hoping that this conversation about the need to raise teacher pay and the need to do that within the adequacy study and within the process of those biennial education increases, it seems to me that we need to make even more of an investment than we have in the recent future. But even if all we do is increase the same amount as we did this last biennium, we'll still only need the sustainability fund for the short term until fiscal 27.
All right, you got a little over a week to get those votes whipped and get them in there. Promise me this, you will let me know first when you get to 75% in both chambers that you're going to take it back to the government.
Probably, but I've had a lot of teachers texting me and saying, let me know when you've got the vote. So they may be first and you'll be my second call after I tell my teacher friends we're going to get it done.
Fair enough. Representative Megan Godfrey, Democrat of Springdale on the House Education Committee. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you, Roby.
That's all for today's edition of Talk Business and Politics. Thank you so much for being with us. I'm Roby Brock. We'll see you next time.